Hi folks, HR Funk here. Periodically, some of you send me suggestions for topics that I can use for future videos, and normally those come in the comments section of a video that I've already posted. And that's absolutely the case with today's video. If you saw the range report that I posted a week or so ago with the Generation 3 Sub2000, you know that I conducted the entire accuracy test in that video with a simple non-magnified red dot optic. Well, someone in the comment section to that video said they would have preferred if I'd tested the accuracy with a magnified optic to show the true accuracy potential of the Generation 3 Sub2000. And I thought, you know, that's kind of interesting. I don't think I have ever seen anyone mount a scope to a Sub2000 and then test the accuracy. And if you're wondering what kind of a maniac might do that, well, I guess now you have an answer, because I had this Redfield 3-to-9 power scope that was already set up in this mount, and it was not presently on any other firearm. And I thought I could mount that very quickly and easily to the top rail of the Sub2000 and then go out and shoot my accuracy test again and see how much accuracy I could eke out of this firearm with a magnified optic. So that's exactly what I did. I mounted this scope probably 3 or 4 days ago to the Sub2000, and then I had to wait because the weather we've had for the last week or so has not been accommodating at all. Finally, yesterday rolled around and the weather was pretty decent. The sun was shining, it wasn't raining, but I was dealing with quite a bit of wind, and you'll see that when we get out to the range footage. But I did go out and reshoot my accuracy test from 25 yards, 50 yards, and 100 yards with the Sub2000, now using the Redfield scope for the aiming. And I took 2 different types of ammunition with me. One of the ammunition types was what I used in the initial test. That was the 147 grain coated House of Pain munitions load. The other one was a match load. It's a Nosler 124 grain jacketed hollow point match for the 9mm. And I was curious how each of those would do, especially in those windy conditions. Now, handgun ammunition, handgun bullets, maybe I should say, in general, are much lower velocity than rifle bullets. So when the wind is blowing hard, like it was yesterday, since it takes longer for the bullet to get to the target, the wind has longer to work on that bullet and cause a little bit more drift. The 147 grain ammunition obviously was the slower of the two. The 124 grain was faster. But when I got there yesterday, I set up at the bench, I put my targets at 25 yards, 50 yards, and 100 yards, and here's how the 25-yard shooting went. And before we get to those 25-yard accuracy results, a quick word about the House of Pain 147 grain powder-coated ammunition. This can be set up as a subscription from House of Pain and come directly to your door as long as you can legally receive ammunition wherever you live. And if you get the subscription for the amount you want at the intervals that you want to receive it, you will save 5% off the regular price of the ammunition. And also you can use my discount code on top of that, which is HR Funk, and save another 5%. So altogether you save 10% off the regular list price of the powder coated ammo. This is the 147 grain ammo, but it also comes in 124 grain and 115 grain. So check out the House of Pain website for more information on the ammunition subscriptions. So accuracy results from 25 yards. The House of Pain 147 grain ammunition is right here on this side. That came in at just over an inch. Now keep in mind, at 25 yards, an inch is about 4 minutes of angle, but even so, very nice group with the Sub2000 Generation 3 from that distance. The Nosler match ammunition is in ½ an inch from that distance. These are all measured center to center, by the way. So 3 shots in ½ an inch. We can see that the lighter bullets printed a little bit higher and the heavier bullets obviously a little bit lower. So not bad at all from 25 yards from a pistol caliber carbine with that magnified optic. I don't remember exactly what the groups looked like when I was shooting with just the red dot, but I don't think that's bad accuracy for a sub $500 Sub 2000. So now it was time to move back to 50 yards. And by the way, that's where I zeroed the Sub 2000. So I wanted to see what the groups were going to look like at 50 yards. I was using the same targets once again, and here's how things went from that distance. From 50 yards, the 147 grain House of Pain ammunition printed just over 2½ inches, and this might have been me. Maybe I pulled that first shot. I'm not sure. I'm working with the Sub 2000 trigger. But again, that's 5 minutes of angle, so it's kind of consistent with what we were seeing at 25 yards where I had a 4-minute of angle group. But look over here with the 124 grain Nosler, that Sub 2000 really seems to like that stuff. That's in just under an inch from 50 yards. Obviously, once again, it printed a little bit higher than the 147 grain load, but all in all, that little carbine is liking that 124 grain Nosler ammo pretty well. So now it was time to double the distance once again and move back to 100 yards. And what you're going to see when we get back out to the range is a human silhouette target, and I put 2 different bullseyes on the human silhouette. I put one in the head area, and I'm going to use that for the heavier 147 grain bullets, assuming there's going to be some drop from that distance of 100 yards. And in the first accuracy test, the bullets were dropping about 5 inches, give or take, at that distance of 100 yards. But I had a 25-yard zero on the red dot optic that time around. So this time I've got the 50-yard zero, and we're going to see what the drop looks like as well as what the group size looks like. There's going to be another target that is in the chest of the human silhouette, and that's the one I'm going to use with the lighter 124 grain bullets, figuring they're not going to drop as much. Now again, I am getting a lot of wind, and this is going to be a long way for those bullets to go, so I'm expecting to see some wind drift this time around. And the wind that I was getting was a full value left to right, so I was expecting the bullets to print somewhat to the right from this distance of 100 yards. So let's head back out and see how it went. So my original plan for this segment was to put this target up on the target board behind me that I use sometimes to be able to show exactly where these shots hit and what the group sizes look like and everything else. Unfortunately, I had to use quite a few staples in this target to keep it on the target board while I was shooting when that wind was blowing. And when I tried to remove it from the target board, this was the result. The good news is I was able to measure these groups, and with the 147 grain House of Pain ammunition, the group size is about 4 inches, and so that stayed pretty consistent all the way through. It's shooting about 4 minutes of angle at each distance that I tested with that House of Pain ammunition. The group with the 124 grain Nosler match ammunition, again, was pretty darn good. It was right at about 3 inches center to center from that distance. If you can see on the target here, we did get some wind drift as these bullets are now moving farther and farther to the right. I was expecting that. The 124 grain Nosler match is the faster of the two loads, so it did not drift as far as the heavier, slower 147 grain ammunition. By the way, that 147 grain ammunition still dropped about 5 inches at that distance, so the drop stayed about the same, which kind of surprised me. And we did not really get a whole lot of drop. In fact, the 124 grain ammunition is hitting a little bit high, if anything, so that was looking very good at that distance. So I think the 100-yard performance of the Sub2000 Generation 3 was pretty darn good. It's definitely minute of bad guy from that distance. So now, last but not least, was time to find out if the Generation 3 Sub2000 is a tack driver. Now I have to tell a little bit of a story here. When I performed my initial accuracy test, I flat out forgot to do the tack shot, and people have been yelling at me ever since then about forgetting to do the tack shot. And I told the story about what happened in a live stream. I had some other things going on. My mind was not really focused on what I was doing, and I was in sort of a hurry to get out of there that day, and I forgot to do the tack shot. Sorry, forgot it. But now I was set back up again, and we're going to find out if the Generation 3 Sub2000 is a 25-yard tack driver. So here we go. So yes, on the second shot from that distance of 25 yards, the Generation 3 Kel-Tec Sub2000 is a tack driver. And that's going to do it for this video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, as always, make sure you forward those to me. Remember, if you purchase anything from Optics Planet, be sure to use my discount code, which is... And if you use that discount code, it's good for 7% off your purchase from Optics Planet. Also remember House of Pain. You can go to House of Pain Armament or House of Pain Munitions and use my discount code there, which is HRFunk, and that'll save you some money off your purchase from House of Pain. And thanks to House of Pain for loaning me the Generation 3 Sub2000 for these videos, and also for providing that ammunition that I used today. And last but not least, don't forget the Target sponsor, folks. You can go to Targets online, check out their inventory, and see if they have anything that's going to meet your Target needs. See you next time, and until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.